Welcome back to Beyond the Box Score, your go-to destination for deep dive sports analysis, betting insights, and the kind of storytelling that turns stats into gripping narratives. Today, we're zeroing in on what could be a decisive moment in the 2025 NHL Eastern Conference Finals. Game 5. The Florida Panthers, up 3-1 in the series, are just one win away from booking their spot in the Stanley Cup Final. But standing in their way, a Carolina Hurricanes squad that just found its heartbeat in Game 4? This game is more than just hockey. It's about pressure, legacy, injuries, and betting implications you cannot afford to miss. Let's kick this off with the story so far. Florida jumped out to a 3-0 series lead with dominant performances, tight defensive setups, aggressive forechecking, and clutch scoring from their star players. Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart, and Captain Alexander Barkov have led from the front. But in Game 4, Carolina stormed back. With their season on the line, the Hurricanes delivered a 3-1 victory that reminded everyone why they were one of the most feared teams during the regular season. If you're an NBA fan watching this because you love playoff drama, trust me, this series delivers that and more. And if you're a bettor, this is where your next wager could be won or lost. Let's go inside the numbers. Both Florida and Carolina averaged around 3.3 goals per game during the regular season. But where Florida edges out is in goals against, clocking in at just 2.4 versus Carolina's 2.7. That might seem marginal, but in a playoff series where every shot matters, those fractions turn into game-defining moments. Florida's power play conversion rate sits at an impressive 27.2%, while Carolina isn't far behind at 26.3%. However, the penalty kill has been a difference maker. Carolina leads with 85%, showcasing their ability to neutralize Florida's elite man advantage unit. But there's a twist. Florida's home penalty kill is actually better than on the road, and that gives them a slight edge heading into Game 5 on their home ice. Now let's talk injuries, because this is where things get murky for both sides. For the Panthers, star forward, Sam Reinhart is listed as day-to-day with rest-related management. He's expected to play, but may not be at full throttle. More concerning is Matthew Tkachuk, who's also listed as day-to-day with a lower body issue. Tkachuk has been the emotional engine for Florida, and if he's not at 100%, their offensive punch could suffer. Sam Bennett remains out with an upper body injury, removing a layer of grit from Florida's second line. Carolina's situation isn't much brighter. Seth Jarvis remains on injured reserve, robbing the Canes of one of their best two-way forwards. Shane Gostisbehere is also out with a lingering back issue, which thins an already stretched defensive chorus. Goaltender Pyotr Kochetkov is day-to-day, and while Frederik Andersen is expected to start, any shakiness in net could be fatal. Andrei Svechnikov, also listed as day-to-day, is a wild card. If he's available, it could swing momentum back to Carolina's favor in a big way. So what does all this mean for betting markets and predictions? The money line currently favors Florida at minus 125, with Carolina as a narrow underdog at plus 105. The over-under is set at 5.5 goals, a number that's tempting considering the offensive firepower both teams bring. But keep this in mind. 3 of the 4 games in this series have hit the under, largely due to elite goaltending and tight playoff-style defense. From a betting angle, there's strong value in the under once again, especially if Tkachuk and Svechnikov aren't at full strength. Another smart play could be taking Florida on the puck line, as teams leading 3-1 at home tend to close out series with multi-goal wins nearly 60% of the time in recent NHL playoff history. Let's break down the key matchups. At center ice, Barkov versus Sebastian Aho has been electric. Barkov has won the face-off battle in 3 of 4 games, giving Florida key possession in critical moments. Aho finally found rhythm in Game 4, netting a goal and assisting on another. That duel will be front and center again in Game 5. On the blue line, Florida's Brandon Montour and Gustav Forsling have been monumental. Montour in particular has stepped up with critical shot blocks and outlet passes that have led to multiple odd-man rushes. Carolina's Brent Burns has the experience, but he's been caught out of position more than once, something Florida will exploit again if given the chance. One often overlooked aspect of this series has been coaching strategy. Paul Maurice, head coach of the Panthers, has masterfully adjusted his lines and defensive pairings depending on Carolina's tempo. Meanwhile, Rod Brind'Amour, a seasoned tactician, has struggled to find the right blend after the early series blowouts. However, his shift to more aggressive zone entries in Game 4 was a key turning point. Watch for continued strategic chess between these two benches. The fans are also playing their part. The FLA Live Arena has been rocking, with Panther supporters fueling the team's home dominance. But let's not forget, Canes fans are some of the most passionate in the league. If Carolina manages to drag this series to Game 6, the momentum could flip dramatically. Now the X factor, goaltending. Sergei Bobrovsky has been phenomenal, posting a .927 save percentage this postseason. He's made the kind of acrobatic stops that deflate an opponent. Anderson has been solid, but not spectacular. If Carolina wants to force a Game 6, he'll have to play the game of his life. Another storyline to follow: rookie contributions. Florida's Anton Lundell has quietly made a name for himself, showing maturity beyond his years in both ends of the ice. His line has controlled possession nearly 60% of the time when he's on the ice. Carolina's Jack Drury has also had flashes of brilliance, particularly in face-off circle. So what's the final verdict? After weighing the injuries, stats, momentum swings, betting lines, and intangible factors like coaching and crowd energy, I'm predicting a 4-2 win for the Florida Panthers in Game 5. They'll weather the early storm, lean on Bobrovsky's goaltending, and capitalize on special teams. Barkov will notch a goal and an assist, while Carter Verhaeghe will deliver the dagger late in the third. The Panthers will advance to the Stanley Cup Final, while Carolina will head home with questions about what could have been if they'd been fully healthy. That's it for today's breakdown here on Beyond the Box Score. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more content that goes beyond surface-level takes, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Got your own prediction? Drop it in the comments below. Who do you have winning Game 5? Let's talk about it. Until next time, keep your bets smart, your takes sharper, and always look beyond the box score.